Alright, in this video we are going to learn how to set up our apparatus for the bromination experiment, which will be the first time that we're using a technique known as reflux. To start, we need our round bottom flask, and in it we'll be placing a magnetic stir bar. The magnetic stir bar will allow us to stir the reaction without having to manually stir the reaction. We'll then clamp this onto our ring stand. And into this we'll insert this piece of glassware known as a Claisen head. From here we need our condenser as well as a septum. Now we have two choices as to we could put our condenser and septum this way or our condenser and septum in this way. We want to put the septum so that it is directly above the flask because we are going to be using a syringe to inject chemicals into this reaction, and we want our septum so that we can shoot our chemicals straight into the flask. So to put the septum in, it sits right in the joint, and then we fold down the sides to form a seal, and then the condenser goes into the other side of the Claisen head. Just like we did with our distillation setup, we connect a piece of tubing on the bottom of the condenser to a cold water faucet, and from the top of the condenser into the sink. So this way we are always running a flow of cold water into the bottom of the condenser and out the top. The way this technique works is that we will then be using a heating mantle to heat our reaction to the point where it may be boiling. Now if we just tried to have our reaction boil, eventually we would run out of solvent, and we would either need to replenish the solvent, which would cool our reaction down, or we'd run out of solvent, which would hinder our reaction. But by setting up the reflux condenser, any solvent that boils will come up into the condenser, get cooled by the cold water running through the condenser, and drip back down into our flask. And so we can keep a constant flow. Also, we can see why we put the septum where we did, because when we use our disposable syringe and needle, we're able to inject whatever we need to inject straight down into the reaction. When you're done using any needles or syringes, do not place them in the trash, do not place them in the glass boxes. Make sure they end up in the garbage.